If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and this is our live call-in talk show all about the Wheel of Time. Tonight, we are talking about Barney Harris and Matt Cauthon. But before we do that, I want to remind you about a couple things coming up here at the Dusty Wheel. First of all, this Sunday, we're going to go back and do a watch party. That's right, I'm going to pull Taylor into a discussion with me all about Winter Dragon and the Dusty Wheel Cut. We thought, why not jump back over on Twitch and just have a fun, relaxing Sunday watch party with everyone. So just keep a lookout on Discord for that announcement. And then the following Wednesday, we're actually going to do one of our news and channel announcement extravaganzas. Yes, we're at the end of our schedule. So we'll be bringing back, hopefully, maybe 8 to 12 weeks of episodes, and we'll be announcing them that Wednesday. So look for that. Be back here on What Wednesday. We have a lot of fun. It's kind of a giveaway extravaganza too. If you're hoping to pick up a mug, that's a great episode to be here about. Okay, so that's all the news. You're here to talk all about Barney Harris and Matt Cauthon. But before I introduce my guests, let's set the stage by learning a little bit more about Barney. Born in London in 1996, Barney Harris caught the acting bug while in a school production of Jerusalem, recalling that it was the moment where you get the addiction to the high on stage and that feeling of being in it. A few years later, he landed a small role in his first feature film, All Roads Lead to Rome, as Bad Boy Tyler. Clearly, he had made his mark because he followed that, tackling the role of Ned with fellow Wadham Prime actor and star Sophie Okonedo in the Hollow Crown TV miniseries, working alongside other stars such as Benedict Cumberbatch. Around the same time, Barney played Private Sykes in a war drama feature film, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, by award-winning director Ang Lee. Then he returned to TV in 2018, joining the second season of BBC's Clique, a British thriller and dark take on Rich entitled Edinburgh Students, which tackles the bitterness of the current political climate. That same year, Barney took on the leading role in what became the award-winning short film Starboy by writer and director Joel Bentolila, where Barney embodies a young Hasidic man, Yehud, who through his study of the Kabbalah and quantum mechanics questions the nature of his own identity and being. Of Barney, Joel recalls that he was very natural, passionate, endearing, engaging, and willing to go anywhere. Well, those are the kinds of characteristics as an actor that will help him successfully embody Matt Cauthon in the upcoming The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime TV series. So with that introduction, let's discuss becoming Matt. And to do that, let me introduce my two distinguished guests to the Dusty Wheel. Welcome, James and MK. How you both doing?
Hi.
I was told we need to bring back like jazz hands. That's right. Well, welcome both of you to the Dusty Wheel. Now, before we start talking about Barney, MK, you're an amazing artist. I love your art. If there are fans that are watching this right now and are like, I didn't know MK did art, where can they follow you?
I'm on Instagram, mkgenest_art. Yeah.
So yeah, you can follow.
There.
Yeah, you can follow. There's some fun stuff there. You can follow MK there. That link is actually in the description of this video. If you didn't write it down, you can go check it out later. And James, you are both actually participated in our Watt parody song challenge. And James actually, if you watched that, he put together the Edmondsfield Cipher.
That little animated one.
It was awesome. I loved that thing. Everyone, actually, I remember receiving that and going like, "What? How much time did this take?" That was amazing.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, it takes enough time that I can do it and put a video out like once a week.
Yeah, it's really
I'm
cool.
now
And,
doing, so.
yeah, which James is now doing. Right after that contest, he was like, "I want to start doing more of these." He started a YouTube channel. And I think users or viewers right now can find you at Wheel Up Time. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
That link is in also the description of this video here. So, okay, well, thank you both for being here to talk all about Barney Harris. So,
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad to be here.
We've all been waiting on this one, right? A lot because of Barney's interaction with us on social media. So before we start talking about his career and all the stuff he's been up to for the last 7 years, I want to review a couple things because he kind of splashed onto social media last summer, and a lot of fans were really excited to interact with him. So I want to post this tweet up for our viewers. These are two tweets that he made. One was, "Follow me at Barney Harris __ on Instagram to watch me slowly descend into Instagram addiction." And the other one was, "I am slowly coming round to the idea I'm more Matt than I maybe thought, but it's a chicken and egg situation." So I thought that was
I don't think he
awesome.
realizes how Matt he is, but I think that Matt doesn't realize how Matt he is.
Yeah.
So it kind of works.
Right.
Like he doesn't think that anything he's thinking isn't what he's actually doing, so it's kind of the same, right? Like,
yeah, I know. That's why I think everyone was shocked just how much they agreed with him on. And not only that, he started engaging with fans. I thought this was really cool. He did a couple live streams on Instagram. He just went live. One of them was with Peter, a fan that jumped in and saw it and got pulled into a kind of
I didn't know there was that one.
Yeah, he started talking to Matt here, and that was really shocking, I think, to Peter.
I know
Peter,
Melchior Talks had got to talk to him for like a minute.
Yeah, well, it's amazing, yeah, because Rob got to talk to him too. I remember jumping in there and going, "Oh my gosh, this is great! I wish more of our cast members would actually engage." But that's tough, right? That would be really difficult to do. But he did it twice, which was crazy, and it was a great experience for those two fans. I want to also mention this one. Yeah, I know you wish you had seen that, right?
Yeah, I totally missed that whole wave, but
well, because of his interactions, a lot of fans really started putting him into art. For example, Weekly Wheel News, put up some posters. Now I put both Matts in here because Weekly Wheel News included me in one of these two. Barney looks a lot better than I do. But yeah, this is really funny. Andor's Most Wanted. Two princes assaulted by swarthy ne'er-do-well. This is a really great one with Matt there. It's so great. And then I think Corey Lansdell, I'm not sure if I have that one here. I don't see this one here. Also did some art of Barney Harris, and it was really cool to see. And if you want to go and check him out, you can also see some art he's done, which actually uses that same picture that Rob did there. And then some funny things.
Say that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they use the same one, right? This was a funny one that WotSeries.com put out. This breaking news, Matt Cauthon.
Oh yeah.
Kind of moment there. Sorry, let me throw that back up. You can see it here. Matt from Cauthon smoking was a really great one. So yeah, that was good. And then we also have this one that kind of kicked off, I want to say, a bit of a meme. I think all of his interactions kicked off this meme. You have this hashtag Twitter of time and Insta of time moment where this is actually, I think this is a fan, and it was like her picture that she put this on, is drinking Barney Instagram content because we couldn't get enough. So yeah, this is just, I think Barney Harris did a great job not only of interacting with fans, but of convincing them of that kind of the veracity of that first tweet. So, and I'm going to throw this up there because this was when I started having fun with this. It was right at the end of Barney's interactions. I put him on the National Treasure poster because that was just fun. And that same image that everyone else used looked really good. And then
I was staring at this and trying to figure out if Reja was a word, and then I was like, reassure, and I figured out that there was a T behind it.
And then there's the Big Lebowski one, which was a lot of fun. Anyways, if you missed the social media kind of rush that happened there, hopefully you can at least go back and see some of the things that people put out there. It was hilarious.
I definitely missed
all the
Quarantine
content
Barney. He was a lot of fun.
Quarantine Barney.
Quarantine Barney, that's what I like to call him, because I think he went a little nuts during that period. And like, we got to see a rare glimpse of who Barney really is. And I think that's really special. Like, not everyone gets to do that or see that. So I think it was pretty cool that he did that.
Yeah, I think that was really, that was a lot of fun to have Quarantine Barney, as you say there. Well, you were saying something, James?
Oh yeah, I think he's totally a bit nuts all the time. But yeah, like you said, he went a bit nuts there publicly, which is right, because we get to see it.
Do you think Amazon was like, cut that out? Like,
well, it got shut down, right? So.
Yeah, right. I don't know. He stopped tweeting about these kind of things. So, yeah. And by the way, thank you very much for the tips from Dylan and Luis here. Really appreciate that. Dylan said, in honor of our favorite Matt, covering our favorite Matt. Cheers, Innkeeper. Well, thank you. Well, why don't we do that? I mean, we're into that portion of this. That's why everyone's probably here, which is to talk about Matt and Barney and talk about Barney's career. So, by the way, if this is the first time you've ever been at the Dusty Wheel, please do like this video while you're here, and please do subscribe. We'd love to have you back every Wednesday and some Sundays doing live talk shows about the Wheel of Time. So, okay. All of us, and for those of you that are kind of interested in kind of going back and watching some of these are all listed in the description of this video. We went and watched as much of the works of Barney Harris as we could. So let's start at the beginning. His first one, at least the credit that we could find, was All Roads Lead to Rome, which is actually just a rom-com that he played a very small part in. If you blinked a couple times, you might have missed it. But MK, did you end up seeing this one?
I did.
So what were your thoughts here? Was there anything that we can take from the very little that we got of his performance in this?
He could do a really good American accent, which I wasn't expecting to hear that. But I mean, that's neither here nor there, really, because he's not using one in the show. Yeah. But he's really,
The American accent side of, he was a jerk. Yes. It was a very short amount of time, but you came across, did he play a jerk well?
Yeah. I was
going to see that as a running theme a bit.
I was definitely convinced of his being a jerk, yes.
You agreed with yes. And well, that's he plays a jerk well. Okay. And this one I actually did see, I would kind of go with that. He kind of had that bad boyfriend, lazy, almost kind of manipulator thing going on really well.
Big time.
And so in the very little that we got him, a lazy, manipulative jerk kind of came across. I think that worked for me. So
I saw the one scene. Apparently there was a second one, but I did blink and miss that. But I saw the first scene he was in. And yeah, he came across that way. He came across as the jerk, the cocky type of guy that the girls want to be with, even though they shouldn't be, right?
Cocky, yeah, he did. You're right. He kind of had that cocky, the
swagger. He's got the swagger down.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I want to mark those down. Kind of swagger, cockiness. As far as if you should go back and watch this, my advice would be it's a just a rom-com. It's not a
I
necessarily.
didn't watch the whole movie.
Yeah, if you want to find both spots, they're kind of like early on and near the
Didn't
end.
look good.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of that.
Bookends.
Yeah, bookends. Yeah, exactly. so that one didn't really tell us too much, but that is the first kind of credit on the list here. I want to move on to the second one though. This one is called The Hollow Crown. It was a TV miniseries, and
Missed
this
one.
You missed this one. Yeah,
I did too.
This was the one I missed.
I got nothing.
So there are so many
Nima.
works. Yeah. So this one I did actually go see. And he did get to play with Sophie Okonedo here. And like I said, he also played across from, Benedict Cumberbatch. And there's so many stars in this film. And he just talks about, I think I saw kind of an interview he had done with, I don't know if it was with Screen Daily. I don't know, it was some website out there that where he was like, yeah, this was really cool to be with actors that knew what they were doing. And he's like, not that I didn't know what I was doing. It was just nice to be with people that could be like the backbone of a show like that. Okay. And he said that's what he kind of looked for, at least in 2016. I don't know if he'd kind of changed that statement at all, but yeah, that's what he was looking for on production, was really some of those key figures. So I would actually encourage you to see this one. He holds up really well amidst all of these, big names, and across from them, and acting with them in those scenes. He plays a pretty central character. At least if you're going to go watch this, it's in season 2, episodes 2 and 3. And that's where he really does a lot of his work. And I didn't get to see episode 3, but I did see episode 2. And yeah, really believable. Kind of, he showed that he could own a scene amidst.
What sort of character
talent,
was he playing?
Yeah,
he was
Like a
prince.
switch over.
Yeah, he kind of had a prince. He was a prince in this, and kind of held a royal kind of carriage to what he was doing.
Was he a jerk?
And was he a jerk in this? No, he wasn't. So
Maybe we need to watch it then.
So would you want to go back?
Pretty much everything else. So.
Yeah, exactly. I would say go back and watch this one. Like this one, as compared to maybe the All Roads Lead to Rome. This one's actually going to tell you something about how he does in a scene around others. There's just a lot of people in this show, so I highly recommend this one. If for those of you that are watching, I'll give you a scene here. This is a scene where he is playing right next to Sophie Okonedo, and he in this scene he does a good job of portraying this character. And it doesn't feel out of place at all, even though this is kind of early on in his career. I thought he does a good job here. So I would say it's worth checking out. So
it was actually the only one I couldn't find on the list, which is weird because I'm in the UK, so you'd think I'd be able to watch it. But...
Yeah, how did you not see that? I think that one, these two early ones, aren't not telling us as much as I think these later shows do. So let's talk this next one. This one is Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Did either of you get to see this one?
I did.
Yes. I watched the full thing the other day.
Okay, James, go ahead and, since we haven't had much to hear from you just yet, why don't you tell us your thoughts on this one?
Okay. I wrote a few things down, and I'm not just going to read off the paper. But I thought he played a much more vulnerable character in this movie than a lot of the other things I've seen him in. He was a sort of a comic relief at times, but you could see through, even if he had like one line and a couple of mannerisms, you could see through that he was using the comic relief to mask his insecurities. I think it wasn't his story. The story wasn't about him by any means. He was one of the tertiary characters of the group. But I feel like he found his own story within the character anyway and explored that, even if he didn't have much dialogue to back it up with. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the vulnerability aspect, I was going to call out, did you get this too? Like innocence? He kind of,
yeah.
there was a certain,
for sure,
you know,
for sure. There was one part, I know we're not meant to be relating this to Matt, but there was one part where he talked about playing Shoots and Ladders with his daughter, and that just made me think of Oliver and Snakes and Foxes.
Oh yeah, that's true. And the fact that he is a father in this one, I thought was really cool to see, and a young father. You know, MK, what would you say other than what James had brought up here? You know, when it comes to this one, Billy Lynn's long halftime walk from 2016. What were your thoughts?
I can't say as profound as James. He said it good. But there was a moment toward the end when he freaks out because of the PTSD from the explosions. And I wasn't expecting to see him like freak out. Like he said, it was a tertiary character. I wasn't like expecting anything much, but he did have that episode where he freaked out, and that was that was a little deeper, I guess, than I expected. That's all.
It went a little bit deeper than you thought. That I actually really enjoyed him in this role. Like you said, just because he's not always there on screen, he does have a more significant amount of screen time than other roles.
I think he makes a lot of the time that he gets on screen as well. Yeah. Even if there's only a few like scenes where he's the main view, he makes a lot of that time. And one thing I noticed in relation to what you said, MK, was after the sort of breakdown PTSD attack, for the rest of the movie, he was a total zombie.
Oh yeah, he didn't. That was it.
that was so believable to me. Like
That's
that
why
was exactly how he should be. It wasn't even the moment was like, oh my god, and I felt it. But afterwards, just watching him be completely disassociated from everything, it was believable to me.
He's good. The kid's good. He's got it.
He's got that. You've all brought up some really interesting kind of pieces of things that he was able to pull off. There's a playfulness there that I thought came out, which goes along with that vulnerability and innocence, and he definitely played that up. And like you said, he in the scenes that he was in, and you can just see him feeling the scene out and actually being in it. I think this is something that Joel Bentalila, that I had mentioned in the kind of intro, who was the writer and director of Starboy, pointed out, which is he'll go anywhere, is what she said. You know, this idea of he'll really put himself into that place. There was a moment in Billy Lynn's long halftime walk at the beginning where I think they're at the funeral, and the cannon goes off where they're shooting the gun, too. And no one else among them, I think it was just him, reacted to the first shot.
Like
and you saw him
tiny bit. Yeah.
Yep.
And he didn't flinch the second time, but it really, like, oh man, I leaned into the scene in that moment, like, oh, this is gonna, he's going to play a part in this that I didn't really anticipate. So yeah, this is of the three we talked about. If you have the time and you want to, I think you go and watch this one. This is Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. I think the subject matter itself.
It was a good movie.
Is really compelling.
I thought it was a good movie. It's not the sort of thing I'd usually go out of my way to watch.
Same.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, that one was really good. So, yeah, that one. The next one up here, I did see. Sweet Maddie Stone is a short film. It's just about 20 minutes long. Here, I don't know if did either of you get to see this one?
I did.
Yes,
you did see this one. Okay, so MK, let me hear from you. What were your thoughts on Sweet Maddie Stone?
Once again, he wasn't a jerk. He plays that well, and he's very intense with that.
What would you say? Would you say he was like a schoolyard bully here? Because Maddie Stone is like, a lot of this happens on the schoolyard and in a school itself. She's trying to protect her family name. Her father's in jail, and people are kind of giving her a hard time. And you can tell she seems pretty aggressive.
He bullied the bully. She was a bully, and he bullied her. And
I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, he bullied the bully here. Did anything come out? Does anything stand out to you here, MK, about his performance, where you'd say this is something new that I hadn't seen him do before? Nothing specific. How about you, James? Was there
I'm
something?
trying to remember, like that's the only one I didn't write things down for. And I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's okay. No, and we'll come back to you if something comes to mind. James, was there something about this performance that told you something about Barney and his capability as an actor?
Well, first off, I actually really liked this. I love the ending where Barney got stabbed.
Yeah.
Off screen, spoilers for that short
yeah,
film.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if you were allowed to talk about the ending because I was going to say something about that.
Well, I mean, now we have. So
my bad.
Yeah,
It's okay because I say that, but you never actually see it, so it's complete hearsay.
It's true. Yes, it is hearsay. You don't actually see
she
this
could have
happen,
just poked him with, in the eye or something.
You don't really know what happens in that moment, but you do see this this fight going down. He definitely was intimidating. He definitely could bring that.
He was more intimidating in this role. In some of the other, I don't want to say villainous, but almost villainous roles that he's played, he's maybe not been as physically intimidating,
right?
But more playing with people's emotions and that sort of thing. In this, I saw the physicality come out a bit more. It was a pretty accurate representation of a British playground as well.
Was it? Okay. So you felt like that was, they did a good job in representing what that was.
The whole
like.
sweets thing, they kind of played that a bit too much up to be, people sell sweets at school or whatever, but it's not drug deals, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I saw someone ask, we're talking about Sweet Maddie Stone. It's a short film that that Barney was in. I believe this happened also in 2016. There's a whole lot of work that he did in 2015, 2016 timeframe. I don't know when all of these were initially shot versus when they came out, but a lot of these are attributed to right around the 2015, 2016 timeframe. And a lot of just all the ones that we just talked about were just all in this period of time. He really jumped in and got a wide range of experience. This one's actually available on Vimeo. If you're interested, like I said, the link is in the description here. And
I'd recommend it.
There was I've been wanting to, I thought of something. There was a part in this when, James said, he got into the physicality, and I actually moved it back. He got into her personal space so much that I felt uncomfortable. Yeah. He did that really well, and
he does that in we'll get there here shortly, but he does that too in a Brixton Tale.
Did I say the wrong one?
No, he did it in both.
He did it in both. So he does that in Sweet Maddie Stone, and then you see it years later. He's older, and he brings that same thing, and it's actually it's more intense. He's come to really have a physicality.
I think that's the key word I took out of all of these performances that been watching is intense. He's got the intensity and the swagger down just to a T.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the intensity. I think that's a good one. Adding to that, to kind of this, what we think that we see out of his capability from a performance standpoint. I think that one's good. Now, I have to say, I didn't get to this one. Look, there were 8 of these we were trying to watch. So I did not get to the next one we're going to tackle here, which is Clique. And it's a British, it's a dark British thriller, and it's a TV series that came out on BBC and now is actually available on Hulu, at least for those in the US.
That's what I watched.
So I was able to see it there. But I knew it was available. I actually told you both it was available, and I didn't get to this one. So I'm going to trust you to start us off, James, here from when it comes to Clique. And as far as I know, he's in 6 episodes, or he has at least 6 episodes as a credit on this one. Something about his performance in Clique that was any different or brought any more breadth to his skills.
Could we run the clip that I sent to you earlier? Because
I don't think I have that one in there. Taylor didn't get that one in there.
What
that
clip?
line is so perfect.
What clip is it? What clip is it? Because I think I know. What is it? What happens
when he's talking to the principal or
Oh no, mine's different. Okay.
So what we'll do is with that clip,
Chilling.
we'll post that clip in Discord right after this. So
Yeah, you
we
all need
do
to go and watch this clip of him.
we do an
talking.
after
It's
show.
about 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's really short. We do an after show, and we'll be able to post it there, so then everyone can hear it and watch that clip. It's from Clique that James put together. Just wasn't able to get it into the show last minute here, but
No
yeah,
worries.
after show over in Discord, we'll check that out. But yes, but go ahead and kind of explain what you thought came from that scene, because I know it was impactful to you.
Yeah, so I first watched Clique a couple of years ago when it first came out. Unaware of like Barney being involved in Wheel of Time at that stage, but I rewatched it, and I remembered loving that one line from the first time I watched it, even though I didn't know who Barney Harris was then, because it was just like it basically he's being expelled for freedom of speech, and he's like, is this how we're gonna do things now? We're just gonna do things with no law or order? Don't get me wrong, I kind of like it.
That's what he said. That was the line.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah.
That's good.
And then he's like, does it make you afraid? And he gets real intense looking at the principal who's expelling him from the school. That scene was beautiful. Aside from that, Clique's a fantastic show. He's in the second season. He's kind of a main cast of that season. He's one of the group of lads that hangs around, and he does have a CD sort of. He's not quite as much of a bad guy as in some of the other roles he's played.
I think he
He's
definitely
definitely got the swagger more.
Yeah, you can see I'm playing the video that I do have. It's just a trailer they put out, and just even Barney Harris sitting on a couch seems to have a little.
It's
swagger.
actually that I absolutely loved him in this.
Yeah,
Like this is my favorite one that he was in, and his line delivery is perfect. He plays a perfect annoyed and just like and he had a lot of very funny lines, and
did he carry the humor? So you're saying he had some funny lines. Was it believable?
Oh,
because that is one thing we haven't
gosh.
kind of pulled out yet from any previous performance as much.
He's perfect. He's very.
It's very dry in this thing.
Very dry, and I mean, I guess I love that kind of humor. Like he's just deadpan, and it's just so funny.
Like the quiet sarcasm, which kind of.
There was a scene that was very, very touchy subject matter. But it was very sad, and he delivered a line. I'm not going to repeat it because it has a swear in it. But it was just, actually, he just made me burst out laughing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say, Gemma J just said I laughed for 10 minutes when he was pulled off the car, and just a natural stuntman, which that's an interesting thing to bring up. Yeah, so if it sounds like if you want to kind of get a feel for how humor works for him in some of these shows, this is a good one. It is a dark show. And
it is
also
a very dark show,
and it also is tackling very, intense topics. We're not going to talk about those topics here for this particular show, so definitely look into the description of the video and make sure it's something you want to see. But it does sound like Barney comes across and gets some humor and sarcasm, which you don't hear as much in his previous roles up to this point. So I appreciate you both kind of pulled it out.
This is like the closest we get to Barney as Matt.
Okay.
In any of the things.
He also has a smile. Like he has that kind of smirky, like
he can play the bad guy very well, as we've seen in a lot of things. But in this, he's not just a bad guy. He's also got that you kind of want to like him, which I think will be. I mean, we're not going into Matt now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to Matt. We're going to get to Matt here shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have two more to do here. If you've been watching along so far, we've covered All Reads Lead to Rome, the Hollow Crown TV miniseries, Billy Lynn's Halftime Walk, Long Halftime Walk, Sweet Maddie Stone, and Clique, another TV kind of thriller. We have two more that we're going to talk about here. And then we're going to jump into Matt and talk about who Matt is. We'll open the call lines if you're waiting for that. And then we'll try to merge these two individuals together and talk about where we think the strengths and weaknesses are. If you are still here, please do like this video. Like I said, that's how other people that are on YouTube can find us and find this discussion about us. And please do subscribe. We'd love to have you here at the Dusty Wheel. And that being said, let's move on to a film that's actually near and dear to our hearts here at the Dusty Wheel, because just this last Sunday, we did a watch party. And as we explained at the beginning, watch party is where we watch the works of the cast and crew of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime together over on Twitch. And so in this case, we had writer and director Joelle Bentalila was with us live on Twitch, and she allowed us to watch and screen her film. And so everyone else was able to watch it that was there. And it was Starboy, which is a short film, 17 minutes long. I explained about what the premise was at the beginning of the show. Go ahead, MK. What was your impression? What did you take away from his performance? Because this is where this is his leading role, right? Like he is front and center. This is his role. What did you take away from his performance in Starboy?
Well, first of all, thank you for doing that, because that was awesome. Very exclusive.
It was fun.
I was not expecting to be able to see that. So his character, really intense, really internal. He had a lot of silent acting, I like to call. And you could just see on his face like what he's thinking, or just, you could just see it. He doesn't need to say anything, and he can tell a story, and I really appreciate that in his acting. And I, not to compare it to Matt, I'm not going to compare it to Matt. But
yeah, but the idea that he's able to tell a story is a really good thing to pull out from his. We're now a couple years into his career at this point, and the fact that he can silently portray just a range of emotions and very internalized emotions, like you just brought up, and with an intensity and with something where it kind of pull you in from a viewer standpoint. Yeah, I mean, if again, Starboy is not available out there, so sadly it's not out there for you to see, but it'll be in film. I think it's still going to film festivals, and
it's in the circuit still.
Yeah, you can still find it out there.
There was what was I going to say? Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin that moment there.
Oh, I was going to say, you could see that he goes all in on a character. Like, you could tell that he takes that seriously, and it's not just like, I'm a star, I'm a movie. Like, he's not cheesy. He just what is the method acting? What they call it? I wonder.
Right. Yeah, I think he really gets into his characters.
Yeah,
I don't think he could play a role if he wasn't convinced that it was a deep and, like a full character.
Yeah,
He'd have to build one for himself in his own head, even if the show didn't require it of him.
Right? Like he has to. He goes all in.
Yeah, I love that. I love
exciting.
Okay, so I don't know if you can pull anything else out of the performance then, James. Talking about telling a story all in, internalized kind of character. Is there anything else you would say that you saw here that you hadn't seen before, just something that had kind of grown in capability?
I didn't know what to expect coming into this one. I didn't know anything about it other than the name.
Me neither.
And considering the fact that I'd seen a couple of Barney's other works at that point, it took me in a very different direction than what I was originally anticipating.
Sure.
Which was fantastic, because at no point during that was my belief suspended. Even though I was used to seeing Barney playing these other roles, when the sort of big reveal moment happened, it wasn't like a shock. It was a shock to me in the context of the show, but not that like I'd forgotten about Barney was even there really.
Right.
Not I'd forgotten he was there, but I forgot that I was watching it for him. I was just
Sure.
sort of like, oh my god, that's what this is about. And then I was thinking about everything I'd just seen in the scenes before, and like, I wish I could rewatch that right now because.
I know. I want to rewatch it.
Right?
Yeah, I'm right now, and I
start right again.
I threw the trailer up for everyone watching this right now, and yeah, as you're talking about just how intense it is, and just the way his relationship with his child and with his wife and with the rabbi, and it's 17 minutes long, and it's so engrossing the entire time, and you just have questions at the very end. You're just like, I'm just full of questions, which was so great that we had Joelle there to kind of answer those for us.
Yeah.
By the way, if you. Cool. It's okay if you haven't seen it necessarily. The show, you can go and see the interview still on Twitch, and hear Joelle talk about Barney and his performance. It was an amazing, intense film. The thing you just brought out there.
I hated his wife.
And it was a completely different character than any of the other ones that he's played.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, completely.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that I saw Starboy first, actually, because I knew, like, he wasn't just, like, I don't want to say typecast, but, like, he always seemed to play kind of like the jerk, or just... the bad guy,
yeah, he was.
So it was good to see.
He plays the anti-hero, right?
He plays the what?
The anti-hero.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a good thing to call out there, that he can do that. But the fact that he could come in and kind of own this role.
Oh yeah,
too.
but in this he was totally different, and that's what I was trying to say is that even though he was totally different, it didn't like shock me or jar me. It was just natural.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think it's still available. That link was supposed to only temporarily be available to us. If you go on Twitch and you go watch, you can kind of find everything over on twitch.tv/thedustywheel. If you're kind of curious, at least to go see the interview, and maybe if the link is still active for you. But it was only going to be active for a short time for us to have that screening that we did. We're going to be doing more things like that over at watch parties. And the idea is to kind of screen things together with, someone as part of the cast and crew and talk about their works. It was a lot of fun. So our last work that we talk about here, probably won't dwell too much here. We don't really need to because he's not in too much of this one. But a Brixton Tale is actually another film that is going in the film festival kind of circuit. It is not available. You can't just go find it anywhere. We got some special permission. That was great of them. Thank you very much to the crew over there that gave us permission to the three of us to go watch it. So we got to see a Brixton Tale. And this, he plays a character named Charles. Would you say, I couldn't catch it if it was like ex-boyfriend or just close friend of the main character?
He seemed to be ex-boyfriend.
Was it an
I don't
ex-boyfriend
think they were
situation?
their exes.
Maybe
the implication I got is that they slept together once at a party.
Okay.
Just once? I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought
there was a more intense. You could tell that she. I'm not going to ruin this show for anyone, but you could tell that she knew his mother, and that there was some connection there also. Yeah. So
they probably grew up like around the same area, right?
Yeah,
like went to the same school maybe, or.
I'm gonna encapsulate his performance this way, which is a lot of the stuff from like Sweet Maddie Stone, All Roads Lead to Rome. Some of these other shows where we said like he kind of plays, an intense jerk with some physicality. This seemed to kind of like be the culmination of that kind of role for him. Again, only in a very small kind of portion of the show, but he did that really well, and it's something you can tell he can pick up that kind of role and run with it. And this was just kind of like even better than all those previous roles that he had done up to that point. Great film. When it is available, I highly recommend this one. But to you, MK, or maybe go up to you, James. I think I went to MK first, then Starboy. A Brixton Tale. What did you pull away from this? As far as I know, I just kind of had my encapsulation of what I thought it meant. Did you see anything different from his performance in this one?
Yeah, he was definitely an antagonist to the main sort of characters. But we actually got to see him get beat up pretty badly,
we did.
and how he reacted to that. And obviously that was his character, not Barney himself.
Right.
But he managed to play that well, which isn't like in his other roles, we haven't really seen him backing down so much.
Yeah.
Even in Billy Lynn, where he was showing a more vulnerable side, it was very different. It was more reaction to things that were, we don't need to go back into that.
Yeah, but yeah, fear. Like you can see that. Yeah, the fear was really tangible at a certain point in that performance.
Yeah. He just sort of melted into the floor and was like, "Have my fun, do what you want." And he withdrew within himself, and
you could see it.
Yeah,
yeah, it was
hurtled.
Yeah, it's a powerful film about race, class, drugs.
Great film.
Really interesting take on it. The main character is a vlogger and is creating kind of this trying to kind of create this like live documentary kind of thing, and creates what ends up being
awful.
Oh.
Yeah,
I got it wrong. It wasn't
an actress because
no, as a person.
Yeah. The actress is really she's really good.
No, the actress is
really,
yeah, she was. She was
so
horrible.
I think in this one, being able to see that vulnerability, but from a fear level, but having been though the antagonist and the bully in one sense, but then to show the opposite side of that and how quickly he kind of was, shown to be kind of a paper tiger in many ways there. Yeah. I mean, still dangerous in what he was threatening and what, the things he was doing. So not a paper tiger in that way, but in the sense that whatever, the bark was bigger than the bite, if that whatever cliche we want to use there. But yeah, go ahead, Memke.
When he first showed up on screen, he didn't feel like the same character. He wasn't the jerk in this. He was more. He seemed like I'm not saying he was like a rich boy, but he felt like he was just for sure. A fake nice. He had, and so you could tell that he was like a weak person.
Yeah,
and he was trying to be macho, and then you could like you said, you could see him like cower down and tail between his legs, kind of thing.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he did it really well. I think this is the most recent work of his, I want to say, that we've seen. And so it showed really well. He did a great job in that film he's not in a ton of it, but for the time he was. So for those of you that have watched at this point, again, we've put links to these in the description of this video. When it comes down to it, I think we would definitely recommend, at least from what I've heard from my guests here, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk is a yes. Sweet Maddie Stone, Clique, Starboy, and A Brixton Tale. All really good films for many other reasons other than just his performances, but worthwhile from a performance standpoint. If you're just interested in seeing how Barney and what he can bring to the screen. Now I want to switch focuses. Let's talk about Matt. We're going to open the call lines for everybody here. I will throw that up on the screen. If you want to give us a call, the phone number is 1-313-825-5968. If you've seen any of these, we'd love to hear your opinion. If you shared our opinion or if there's something else we missed. And then if you have an opinion about Matt, we'll try to weave you in the conversation. We might not get to all the calls, but we'll try to get to the calls and hear you out. So I want to remind everybody, if you were here, please do like this video. And for those that saw in the beginning, Taylor has been working to make sure that when you leave a tip, that we make sure everyone is aware and kind of gets, some cheers from us and some thank yous. So he's made those kind of show up at the top of the screen there. Yeah, like Taylor's just showing you an example right there. And hopefully that'll be a lot of fun for those, because we really appreciate when you guys drop a tip in here. And I apologize if we don't see them or they get missed. So this way we won't miss them in the future. So thank you, Taylor, for knocking that out and making that kind of work in the video here. So, okay. And what I want to do now is switch over to Matt Cauthon. And now I want to ask you both, when it comes to Matt Cauthon, and I'm going to try to bring in some comments from chat too about this. Feel free in chat to answer these questions. And if when it comes to Matt Cauthon, what would you say are his characteristics or the highlights that basically that Rafe and his team need to get right about Matt? What makes Matt Matt? And go ahead, MK. Is there something that comes to mind? I know you're a huge fan of this particular character,
All right.
so you've got to have something on the top of your head here. Is there something Matt that we would want to throw out there and say this is what makes him him?
He's
The best.
I can't right now.
Objectively.
He's the best. You can't objectively say anything about Matt. Okay, we'll go to James first.
I'm blanking out. Like,
No, it's
holy
okay.
crap.
It's okay. Let's go to James, and in chat, please tell me what makes Matt Matt. But yeah, James, what comes to mind from a characteristic standpoint?
For me, even in the early books, it was the swagger and the cockiness, the lovable rogue nature.
Okay, lovable rogue. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the best way I could describe him. A lovable rogue. Yeah. You just want to have a beer with him, right?
Okay, I like it.
Catch a badger.
Well, he is a. I think I said lesbian already said Matt doesn't fully understand himself. He thinks he knows who he is, but he doesn't, or he isn't.
He definitely changes.
Isn't that person? So
big time.
I mean, yeah, that stuff's all on the surface. There's a lot more deeper stuff going on with his character, obviously.
Just like everybody else in from the Two Rivers, very naive and very immature at first.
And I think at first, because if we're talking about Barney Harris playing Matt, right now we're talking about season 1, right? So at first, if he's assuming that they're not going to rework Finn's dagger entirely, it's going to make him a bit of a... insert word that isn't swear word here, because I'm blanking. Bad guy for a bit. That's what we're gonna do it with. Bad guy. Okay. Blood and ashes.
You can get it. Yeah, there we go. You can get away with at least one if you need. If you need that
make
one,
him a son of a goat for a little bit.
I love it. So
we've seen that in his other roles. So I think that's something that we've touched on a lot tonight. That he plays a bad guy or an antagonist. I think that's gonna be brought quite well to his character in season 1, probably.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, which is we have seen him kind of have that rogue side for certain. But I've seen a lot of lovable and loyal kind of rogue, and I think that definitely encapsulates him. A lot of people are saying kind of still immature, lack of self-awareness there, naive as you mentioned it, MK.
No, I think Matt's entirely aware. He's fully aware. He's just like, nah, I don't care.
The problem is, and this is a problem I had while I was reading it, taking another point of view. I always got mad at like the girls when they treat him like crap,
Sure.
And I'm like, why are they acting like that? Why do they hate him so much? And it's because we get to know what he's thinking. I mean, not maybe in the first book or two, but they, they think he's a scoundrel and all this stuff. But it's good to know what he's thinking, and that makes him a lot more approachable and more lovable. But I've heard people say that they like him in the book, but they wouldn't want to be friends with him, or they wouldn't want to date him because he, can be the way he is. So,
I love that. I love that, which is, maybe this is not necessarily the character you would want to go to Vegas with, or maybe the character you would. I see some people probably on both sides of that fence with, right? That's probably people.
We need a poll in chat. If you want to go to Vegas,
if you took out all his internal monologue in the books and just saw his actions and what he said, like, you might have a different opinion of him.
Yes, that's true.
And I think it would be interesting to do, to like take out and just like read it that way.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting point. because I think a lot of his humor is internal monologue as well.
It is.
Yeah.
And the conflict
Obviously,
and the difference.
that changes when you go to a visual medium.
It does.
And things get brought out more in dialogue, so we might get to see more of that humorous side up front, which, you know.
I love this. Podcast of the Dragon
it's an
said.
interesting point.
Podcast of the Dragon. I couldn't be friends with any of the Emmons Fielders.
Yeah,
I
me
love
neither.
that. I see a lot of comments here that one of his most enduring qualities is his friendship. Totally agree with that. I think that is
he's
really
loyal.
yeah, absolutely. And
loyal.
and Taylor was wondering what he missed. He walked out of the room when you mentioned putting a poll out there, and so he came back to my text of like,
What?
want to go to Vegas with Matt. You know, oh, and I spelled Matt wrong. That's bad. So yeah, so Taylor will get
Match
around to it here. He's
NATT.
going to put that poll in chat with us, which is yes. Sorry, he saw two T's and he was like, "Why are you going to Vegas?" That's the problem talking about Matt with one T and Matt with two T's. So.
I'd go to Vegas with him because I'm not going to play against him. But if we're going together, he's going to be
That's true.
like, here's some money.
By the way, I don't know why I didn't connect his luck. Of course, everyone's going to say yes to this poll. But we have a couple callers here.
If you've taken the poll, guys, do it without his
Yeah.
luck involved.
Yes, yeah. We'll have to take that out of it. You don't get Matt's
That's part
luck
of
in
Matt.
Vegas.
No, that's part of Matt. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't immediately. So I
getting
mean,
attacked by
and I want to
Yeah,
remind
but you have
everybody.
to assume that he doesn't want you to get money, and his luck works in like reverse stuff. And he'll just be trying to screw you over. So
Yeah, maybe.
So I want to mention this because people might be watching here, and we haven't said this out, but I don't think we've ruined much here. But this is spoilers for the rest of the show. You know, anything could be spoiled up to the end of the book. But we've been spoiling the previous shows, and we're going to be spoiling the books here. So hopefully you have not stuck around. But if you have up until this point and you're like, no, the books are going to be spoiled here more so than they maybe ever have been if we've said anything. So expect chat to be full of spoilers. Let me bring our first caller. I think I see 3 callers here. So let's bring our first caller into the show tonight. Welcome, Norm, to the Dusty Wheel. Norm, how you doing?
Great innkeeper, as always. I raise my glass to you.
Thank you, sir.
I am Kay. And what's up, dude? Welcome from across the pond.
Hey, Mom.
And everyone, of course, what's up? So,
What on?
Oh, Norm, before you say anything, thank you, Village Mattress, for that tip. Really appreciate it. Village Mattress said, Matt is the most loyal friend of all the Emmons Field 5. Okay. With that thought of him being the most loyal friend, Norm, what's your thoughts about Barney and Matt?
well, I want to see Barney because I have to admit, of the Emmons Fielders, Matt is, of the males, I should say, the Super Boys, he is my favorite, with Perrin being second. I'm not saying I'm not a Rand fan, but Rand was third, so I'm sorry, everybody.
He's hard to
But
love.
I want Matt in the
Perrin's hard.
first book. In the first book, I have to admit I hated Matt. So I want to see that. I want to see that progression similar to Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. I want to see that in the first season you just hate him. He's because he's annoying and he's a smartass and he's just all this cray with the dagger. I want all of it. But then by book 2, all of a sudden he somehow Robert Jordan just flipped the script on him and said, no, he's not going to be an a-hole through this entire series. So let's make him actually, a diamond in the rough. And all of a sudden he just took over. And don't get me started by book 5. What is it? Book 4, book 5 when they go to when he takes over with the hand of the red hand. So all I know is I want to see that progression. I want to see him pull off the whole gamut. From what everyone is saying today about his acting chops, I think that is possible to go through that progression with him.
You brought up a good point, which is, for those of us that have read the books and so many times, we often think of Matt, as the fullness of the character that he is, and the totality of it. And we kind of take parts from later books and earlier books and kind of mesh them together in our assessment of him. But I like that you're bringing this up. And I think it's something that James brought up too, is kind of initially this idea of who Matt is when we first meet him and who he becomes is so different that hopefully, you know, from at least from Barney's career standpoint, it seems like he has the chops of being and taking on really broad range of types of characters. And that's kind of what you see in evolution with Matt. So I like this idea of not liking him in the beginning. And I hope that they have, like you said, kind of, at least for some people, I'll be honest, I liked him in the beginning, but I was 15 when I first read Matt.
Yeah, me too.
There was something really appealing about his character to me, but I do get that there's reasons that other people don't, and that they come to like him later on. That's actually been an experience I've had or heard from other new readers. So yeah, Lancer, have you seen any of these movies or shows that we mentioned? Have you seen anything that Barney's been in?
I can honestly say I have not. Quite honestly, the only actor of the main cast that I've ever seen work on was Rosamund Pike. Sure. And also Madeline Madden, because I did see Dora the Explorer.
You caught the
Dora.
Yeah, you caught Dora. Nice.
I caught Dora, and I like Dora. Dang it! So sue me.
Yes.
But those are the only two people I've ever seen work on. So I like coming into, especially when with actors that I don't know. I like to go in blind and just let them wow me with their performance. So
no, that makes sense. Would you go to Vegas with Matt if he didn't have his luck?
Oh, you damn Skippy! I'd go to Vegas with Matt. I'd probably be plastered. I'd be plastered by the first couple of hours already.
Yeah, so, James, I feel like that's
again.
You know what? We should probably run this poll anyways. Taylor, you got to put that poll in there because I just want to see how. Oh, there it is. Taylor was way ahead of me. He's back there laughing at me because this is already something he'd done. So want to go to Vegas with Matt?
I don't know why, but I'm gonna have to vote. Sorry.
Use exclamation point vote and the word yes or the word no afterwards. If you're confused on how this works, make sure to just watch other people vote for this. But yes, vote away, people. It is there in chat. Yeah, would you want to go to Vegas with Matt? Myself. And, I can't make you only answer this if he doesn't have his luck, but I'm just kind of curious what the vote's going to be here.
That's horrible that you're taking that out.
So
he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it to sell you on going to Vegas with him.
Well, Norm, any final thoughts before we let you go tonight?
I just hope he does the character justice, but I also hope that he shows all of the depthness, the onion that is Matt. As you guys we talked about that in another character, scene character before. Talked about the onion that is him. Using the Shrek term. But I hope that the writers also bring that out too, and don't dwell on him being the this or the other. He has to have the whole rainbow. So, that's what I'm hoping for. So.
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's true. I agree. I'm hoping that, and I think at least from what I saw of his performances in these 7 or 8 shows that we took in, was that he has enough capability to add complexity to that role, to the roles that he takes on. He, whether or not it's from his physicality or just from kind of the way he internalizes things, or from what Joel said, which is he'll go anywhere. He's all in. I'm hoping that he can pull that out of whatever script he was given, if it's not already there. But I'm sure it's got to be. I mean, but this goes back to that point. I think Brandon said to Rafe, Matt, don't underestimate how difficult Matt is to write, and that was advice he gave, or warning, maybe both.
Didn't Brandon say to you possibly in an interview that he thought Barney Harris got Matt wrong?
No. He said Barney Harris came to him and asked him a lot about Matt and wanted to understand Matt as well as he could, and Brandon was able to share with him what he felt like he did wrong in that way. So no, that wasn't the comment. Well, hey, okay. Norm.
I thought he said that. Sorry.
The other one, yeah, no worries. Hey, Norm, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it, and of course, appreciate you. And we'll see you soon here at the Dusty Wheel, man. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
You guys take care.
You too.
So there was actually something that I was going to comment about something that Norm said.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think, I mean, I do want to see the progression, don't get me wrong, but from the table read that we got like all that time ago, that line that he said about fireballs, it makes me think that they are going in the comic relief direction with him, so we might not be as annoyed with with Matt in the beginning as a lot of people were in the books. Like, I think that he's going to be a lot more laid back, I guess. Or just, he's going to be a lot more chill and not like saying, the Trollocs are coming after us and, giving everything away, like he did in Eye of the World. And then he's going to go into his downward spiral with the dagger. So I think we'll hate him in that sense. And it makes me wonder if we're going to know that the dagger is why he's turning into that. Makes me wonder.
I'm really interested in how they're going to do that.
Yeah, man. We're getting closer. We're certainly getting closer. We have 3 more callers. We're going to take all 3 callers. Okay. And then I'll get final thoughts from the both of you because I want to know... I want to tackle one last question after these 3 callers. So let's bring them in, and then we'll do that. Let's bring in Devin to the show. Welcome, Devin, to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing tonight?
Hi, Devin.
I am doing well. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
I love the Dusty Wheel show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I especially love these episodes. It gives me a great excuse to kind of dig into the previous works of these of these actors. So, what are your thoughts, either about Barney's work or about Matt? What do you got for us?
So one thing I was thinking is piggybacking on what somebody else was saying about the character arc for Matt. I was watching an interview with Dave Filoni, who did the Clone Wars and Star Wars, and he was talking about how he purposefully made Ahsoka really annoying in the beginning, and then through the series she matured. And there are consequences to her actions. And then she became one of the most loved characters in the series. And I really felt that I saw that happening, and I saw Robert Jordan do that with Matt. And one of the main reasons why I love Matt. The other reason is imposter syndrome. I work with underrepresented startup founders, and they all have imposter syndrome. And seeing somebody on the pages of a fantasy novel who has such imposter syndrome around his own goodness and greatness, and is being gaslit by the people that he grew up with in terms of his own goodness and greatness. And then how he blossomed when he was supported by a group like the Band of the Red Hand just blew me away. I love that. I love that, absolutely. And the last thing I wanted to say was that I'm really curious as to everyone here, your thoughts on his absence on the interwebs. Is he in the is COVID Barney Harris in the penalty box? Or are they just saving him for a bigger reveal? And do we need to start a show us our Matt campaign or roll the dice?
Barney blow. Let Barney blow.
Yes. So
that might go down the wrong alley.
It's saw his live and he got a spanking.
I think that Amazon cut him off. I think they were like, listen, you're a little out there and we don't want to scare people away. So let's take it. I think maybe they were worried he was going to like post pictures that he shouldn't post pictures of. And
they were totally just worried about him revealing things more than anything else.
Yeah.
I've seen Amazon jail in chat. I kind of wonder if it's an all or nothing proposition, right? Like we saw him jump into social media and just how engaging he was. Maybe that's just him, right? And so it's either you get that or you don't. And that's what maybe brings so much greatness to that character. I don't know, that could be why. Again, who knows exactly why, but at least we got, I think back and go, at least we got that, which was an amazing engagement with the fans from Barney, which honestly, I think back on fondly. How fun was that time as a fan? So, but to your previous point, I want to bring out this idea of imposter syndrome. I want to agree with you that I think that is a solid case to be made for that imposter syndrome that he has, and coming to believe in himself, and through, like you said, through the love and care of people that did become just really core friends of his outside of the realm of Emmons Field, and really kind of plays. Honestly, I think that's a very real thing that happens to us, right? Just because you have close friends when you were younger doesn't mean they were always the best of friends or the best for you. And a lot of us move on from our childhoods and actually find, ourselves later on as we are around people that, care about us differently and are actually kind of revealing things to us and that they see, but in a more caring, kind of mentoring kind of way. So I totally see that, Devin. Yeah, great comment.
I think that was very good insight.
Yeah, me too.
Something that I didn't even, not that I didn't pick up on it, I just didn't know I knew. Like it was it there, and it's just like, oh yeah, he they always put him down, and so he, and then he became better from people like the little band of the red hand.
Like the little band of the red hand.
Yeah, those guys love him.
Yeah. And they all look up to him, and his friends from back home are like, and they're not very, even when he does prove himself, like even during the last battle, like Egwene's like, what? No.
What? Yeah.
So like they never really give him a chance. And they don't have yeah.
Well, great
The
point,
greatest
Devin.
scene was that scene where Tuon is like, wait, he's actually a really good general. Like, what?
Arrives at the camp.
Yeah, that's a great little scene. Oh.
Well,
my favorite Matt scene is when he reunites with Perrin and he actually has the badger.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
That set me off so
That's amazing.
Well, Devin, thank you so much for calling in, man. Great. Thank you for adding to this conversation about Matt. Really appreciate that. And I, with you, do miss Barney Harris on social media. Hopefully someday we will have him back among us. So have a good one, Devin. And hopefully we'll see you later here in chat.
Thank you. Have a good night. I think that maybe one day when Barney is obviously famous, because this show's going to blow away Game of Thrones. So when he becomes famous, we'll be able to be like, there was this time before when he was on social media, and we'll have stories.
Yeah, we totally we will. It's already that kind of way, right? People, just like James had said, James, you missed that time when Barney was engaging. So even you're like,
all still just later.
Well, let's bring in our second to last caller here to the show. Welcome to the Dusty Wheel, Master of the Deck. How are you doing tonight?
Kayla!
I'm doing fantastic. Hello, MK and James.
Hey.
So what are your thoughts or your questions for us?
Well, I wanted to thank the three of you for doing the work, looking at Barney's his catalog of things, so that I didn't have to.
You should have.
I appreciated your thoughts and insights on it.
Yeah, there's some good ones in there. I definitely recommend afterwards people go check some of those out.
I have to say, MK, your kitten is giving me life. She's just the best thing.
You're still in the show. It's so great.
I watched her on my camera.
It's so good. That should be on every live stream. Everyone, from now on, my guests have to have kittens. James?
Well, I mean, I had my cats giving me a hard time on the stream. Now MK's got her cat, so it's just, you got to bring Cat to the Dusty Wheel.
She's in attack mode tonight. I'm not giving her attention, so.
So what's your thought, Master of the Deck?
So, you guys brought up that Barney seems to really try to sort of build up a story for a character in his head. It's been mentioned by Sarah. It was mentioned in chat that he's very dedicated to sort of like researching his characters and, getting inside of them. So, one of the more common headcanons, at least in my opinion, in the fandom is that Matt is, he's not a straight character, that, he's a bisexual or pansexual character. And I want to know your thoughts, Do you think that that might be something that, that Barney has, whether or not the character is written that way? Do you think that might be an energy that he brings to Matt?
That would totally work. Like, I think that he has that kind of energy anyway.
I would say
I think so. I feel it.
He maybe does have bi or pansexual energy, but I would define Matt probably from what I've seen as heteroromantic. Meaning he only seems to get these sorts of romantic emotional attachments for women. But I think he'd, if it feels good, keep going is like
I think
his general motto, right?
I think the energy he's brought to other roles. In other words, I think there's just an energy about him. So if he, I think it'll come down to what he brings to the role, and he certainly could bring it. I think
he's
he could
very
make
experimental.
That work. Yeah, well, exactly. You've taken that from
Barney.
from his.
That's what I'm saying. Both are one and the same, aren't they? Chicken and egg. I don't.
What was it? Quarantine Barney.
Barney
taught you a couple things about.
Yeah.
I think you can or see that could be a way to take Matt's character, and maybe they will. But
it has to be done tastefully, though.
And Barney could handle it, but like you're saying, I don't know. I don't know that I would necessarily see them choosing Matt, but maybe they will. Like we've talked about this a lot.
If him and Talmanas get drunk one night and something happens, okay.
Oh, now this is my kind of conversation right here. You know what's up.
But I don't think we need to see it just for the sake of seeing it. If it happens organically within, those guys have a relationship anyway. So I could see it organically occurring in the sorts of situations they find themselves in. Although Talmanas doesn't drink that much, right? But
yeah,
I think it would be fantastic to see a little flirts with the stable boy and the barmaid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking, Doctor Who, Jack. I don't know if anyone's watched. Doctor Who.
Yes, Jack Harkness. Matt Cauthon is the Jack
with
Harkness of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah. Like he flirts with everybody. He's like, call me, He's
And I was gonna bring in Bane and Chad's point here, where the problem here does stem from maybe playing into a stereotype about bi people, or in this case, Bane and Chad wrote pan people too as promiscuous. Because Matt has that kind of player energy about him already in the books. So Bane and Chad thought was not Matt because of that, but it's and that's I don't know. What do you think about that, Mash of the Deck?
I don't necessarily think that it would be a bad thing for Matt Cauthon to be a queer character in the show, especially if it's not just him. I mean, I've got headcanons everywhere, right? Everyone's queer. But I'm glad I'm known so well here. It is a valid point that there is a stereotype that that anybody who is not, either homosexual or heterosexual, anyone who's on the, the M spec is promiscuous because they are, interested in everyone. So that would be something that would need to be handled carefully with the character. At the same time, when we look at those things, it's one of the questions of are you allowed to have a queer villain because you get so many queer coded villains? So it's, do we allow these characters to have those complexities and flaws, including having a bisexual and pansexual identity, or because of the risk of stereotypes, do we avoid it altogether? So it's certainly a complex issue.
Sure.
In my opinion, I think it would be worth it for Matt's character because it's already so much in his essence to be that way. So in 2021, an adaptation, I'm absolutely here for it.
Yeah, so I was going to say this, but bringing this to the topic at hand of Barney and Matt, I think Barney could pull it. I think he could pull it off. In other words, as Matt, I think he could. And then to that question that you had of, from his acting chops, I think it would come out. I think he could make it work. So, yeah. Mash of the Deck.
I don't think you'd see any difference if he was with a male or a female or any other identification on screen in a romantic or sexual way. I think his performance would be exactly the same, if that was what his character required, of course.
Yeah. Master of the Deck, thank you so much for calling in and always bringing the interesting questions.
Hi, Kayla.
We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. It was lovely. I will see you all later.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh boy.
So, Taylor, do you want to give us the end of that poll? If you voted, we have one more call here. And Taylor's going to end that poll, and we'll find out what the answer was. We all thought it was going to be 100%. You can't vote any longer. Let's see what the answer was. Ooh. Nope. 92.86% of our voters today said they wanted to go to Vegas with Matt. The rest of you, bah humbug. You know.
And one of our lucky voters
voted
prize.
no?
You
Can you-
actually
Don't try to find the people.
Cauthon.
Name yourselves.
No.
I need to know. I'm gonna go back and look.
Yeah. Let's jump to our final caller of the night, Morgan from the Podcast of Dragon. Let's welcome Morgan to the show. Morgan, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. How you doing tonight?
Hey.
Really good. How are you?
Fantastic. You are our final caller. So what's your thoughts about Barney and Matt?
Well, my thoughts are that Barney needs to do Matt from the beginning just for himself, because my belief is that the reason that most people don't like Matt through the first two books is that we only see him through other people's eyes, and that his friends don't really like him very much. I think that they think that he's kind of immature and, you know, kind of a drag, and they're ready to grow up, and he isn't. And because it's a small town and you don't have a lot of people to choose from, you're getting a POVs from Rand and POVs from Perrin, and they're not having very high opinions of Matt, and that's the kind of flavor that you're getting. And so the reason that you like him once you're in his head is because you're getting, you know, in the head of someone who actually holds him in decent regard. And so Barney's going to have to just make Matt all by himself. And that's the only way that he's going to be able to effectively portray him, because he can't portray him the way other people think he is. Because you see, once you get in his head, that his friends have no idea who he is.
Yeah, interesting. That's an interesting point. That Barney's going to have to kind of pick or kind of bring what that is or who Matt is to the screen in ways that, you know, we're kind of guessing because we only have POVs from others. Yeah, that's a really strong point.
That the other people's interpretations of him is more what he allows them to see. And I think how that could translate well to screen is that maybe in scenes where he's around other people, we get that bravado, cocky, humorous side, but in scenes where he's alone, we might see the more introspective Matt that has those deep natures to him.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I think that he'll do a great job. He seems like a very talented actor, and I really appreciated all of your analysis, because I don't know a lot about film or TV, so that was really kind of enlightening. But yeah, I think he'll do a really good job being able to embody Matt, and we'll see who he really is. And he'll still be annoying because he'll still be immature and he'll have the dagger. But
yeah,
he'll do his own thing. And then going through book 2, you're getting something where it's like you maybe have a terminal disease, but you don't know for sure you might survive it. And that kind of place to suspend yourself in is a very stressful mental and emotional place. And so it's understandable, and that's a reasonable, you know, headspace for him to be able to play someone who's kind of being a jerk, because that's a really stressful thing. So he's got a lot to work with there.
Yeah.
I really
absolutely.
hope that, because I know you said that he reached out to like Brandon Sanderson, but he also reached out to a lot of like content creators on YouTube and like other places, and asked about the character. And I really hope they didn't just focus on the beginning of Matt, because he does change so much. And I don't expect Barney has read the series at all. You should. If you're watching, read it. I mean, gosh. Anyway, he needs to know that there's more to Matt than what we hear him say. You know, he needs to know that there is that internal monologue going on, and that he I'm sorry, this kitty is
You have
just
the cats.
really hurting
you
me.
grabbed the cat, so
She's been attacking me like underneath here and claws, and I think I have holes in my jeans now, and I'm sorry, very distracted. But like, I really hope that the people he did reach out to said that like he becomes, you know, he knows what he's about. He really, you know, he does. No one else does, but he knows what he's about. And he needs to know that he's more than just what's in the first couple books.
And I think that's probably why he was reaching out, you know, to get a well-rounded maybe picture of what people thought, and then how he could get there potentially. If you know,
I mean, the fact that he was is generally a fantastic sign.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that. Like,
when
he's messaging random YouTubers now. Hi.
Well,
when
I'll
he
tell
first,
you about Matt.
When he first got cast, that's what happened. I heard it happened to a few of them, and that's I knew that he was really going to get into his role. When I heard that he reached out, I was like, well, he cares. Like, it's not just like a job for him. Like, he's going to really.
You can see that throughout his history of work.
And like I saw Scott say, Scott said, and plus he has Sarah there with him, you know, and Sarah is going to be able to answer his questions too.
For sure. For sure.
So he has a lot of resources there. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you bringing that conversation to us. Really about kind of dissecting early Matt and how we really get told who he is for a long time until we really get in his head. And I think that is why some people don't like him early on, because they believe the other things. And then when they do get in his head, they start to have a different opinion. Whereas I'll be honest, I believed early on at 15, and I really associated, maybe it's because his name was Matt. I don't know. Maybe that was it too. But
Gotta be it.
I associated with this character as being kind of misunderstood, and so I was on his side from the very beginning because of that. And I felt like people were really kind of giving me a hard time for things that they didn't understand. So that being said, Morgan, awesome to hear your voice. It's been too long, and looking forward to have you back here at the Dusty Wheel.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, you bet.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you guys soon.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I even quoted that in my parody song. I said that no one liked him in the beginning. Like, that's one of the lines in it, and that's funny.
Yeah.
Except for Matt Hatch.
That's right.
I think the only effective character analysis you can get from early Matt is the line, "Battle interests me."
Yeah. I like that.
Everything you need to know.
So I want to put this last question out to both of you, and then we'll end the show here, and we'll continue the conversation over on Discord afterwards. Again, if you are here still and you haven't liked the video, please do. We have these conversations weekly here at the Dusty Wheel. They're live, they're fun. We riff on stuff that we probably don't believe tomorrow, but that's the whole point. You just get our initial reactions, and it's a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll continue joining us. We do this, and we'll be doing this all the way up to and through the launch of the actual TV series, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So my final question to both of you is, because I think we've found some parody here on some of the traits that Barney is able to exemplify in his work as compared to Matt. This idea of him being all in and telling a story, we'll need him to do that with Matt. His internalized struggles, you know, becoming that rogue and lovable and still loyal, while being able to kind of, you know, with a dagger, maybe show some darker sides to some of those traits, you know, and we've seen that capability. Do you see any, weakness is the wrong word, but do you see anything where you think that he will, struggle to kind of bring, where he's going to have to really work to bring something out that doesn't pair as nicely?
I think that what you were talking about before, that once again, Brandon Sanderson, he struggled to write Matt, and you know, you read him and you think you understand him, and
the cat is killing. It's so great.
I think that you know, I hope that he knows that he's not just like comic relief, and that he wasn't cast to be the jerk. or he wasn't cast to be that guy. That's what I could see why they cast him. Definitely. I want him to realize that there's a lot more to him, and that he wasn't just cast to be that guy.
So that's you're bringing up an interesting answer to that question, which is maybe the difficult thing for him will really be not that he couldn't embody Matt, but really trying to nail down who Matt is. And maybe that's been maybe he recognized that, and that's why he was out asking as many questions as he could, really trying to define this character, because that is going to be, like he said, like Brandon said to Rafe, you think you know Matt, but he's really difficult to write. James, anything coming to you as far as where he's going to really have to work for it to bring it, Matt to the screen?
I think that could be one difficulty, because I think one of the main things people always say about Matt is, what is it? I don't want to get it wrong, but it's like he thinks one thing, says another thing, and does a third thing. Right? And
yeah, that's good.
You can do two of those on screen. You can do says and does, and do two different things, but you lose the third one unless they're doing inner monologues, which I don't see happening.
I think they're gonna make Telmanis' character bigger so that they can talk to each other.
Maybe, but that's much late seasons, right?
I know.
Yeah, that's
at least initially. Yeah, I don't know how he. That's going to be a struggle to me to get that aspect of Matt across, because you just lose that third. You lose the inner monologue. So how do you get that third level across of I'm thinking something different than I'm saying and what I'm doing?
I mean, that's all up to the writers, and I don't know how they're gonna do it, but God bless them.
You're both bringing up great points, and yes, and everyone's loving the cat, and can we all get a cat like that for our next live show? I just need to have a cat crawling along the bar here. So thank you both for being here. Really, really compelling stuff. It sounds like I just saw that for the moment, the screener version is up. If you want to go catch it over at the Dusty Wheel, like I said, you can go get the link. Or go over to Twitch. Go follow us over on Twitch. You can find the link over there, and then go watch it and watch our conversation. Go have the same experience we had on Sunday. It's fantastic. And like I said, Starboy is definitely worth watching. And check out some of these other works that we've mentioned that you can get access to whenever you'd like, at least for now, which I said, there's a variety of them in the description of this video. This has been a lot of fun talking about Matt. I think the next character we have to do is Moiraine. I think we need to talk about Rosamund Pike the next time we do one of these in the coming month or two. So, well, thank you, James. Again, make sure to check out James' Wheel Up Time. You got to go check out the animations, the parody stuff he's done. It's fantastic on his channel. You can find the link in the description. And if you want to catch MK's art, I didn't play this before. I need to go play this. This is really short. MK did a WOT parody all about Matt, and we pulled a little bit of that WOT parody here. We'll put it up on screen. Listen to, I think it just have 15 seconds of this. This is great, and you'll see the art that she did of Matt. So enjoy this, and then go look up the playlist for the WOT parodies and go watch the entire thing on YouTube after this. So here you go. Spoilers here. There you go. You got maybe it was only 10 seconds. You got a little cut, you got to go check out the whole thing if you've never seen this before. It's great and such a wonderful parody and great voice, MK. I thought you did a great job with that. So, well, that is it, everyone. I really appreciate you spending time with us as always on a Wednesday night. Can't wait for another trailer and for the show to come out and for us to have these conversations all about the show. So, good night, everyone from the Dusty Wheel. Check us out on Discord, and as I say around here, good night and smash to black.
Welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. You went right to kill it. Look at you. You're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is
really well.
scenes.
And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So,
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm not wearing one.
I see Okonedo as something along the lines of a Shida Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge. Yay!
Pair of like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
This is not just
like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi
And
elements.
just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me. And
probably, I would say, put in 70, 80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,